Greetings and welcome back. What happens when you give a company like UAV or Swats Productions a tiny bit amount of money when Disney, Warner Bros. And or Fox Animations is about to release a new movie? You get a filthy knockoff. This is The Secret of Anastasia. And that is how it is pronounced.
Well, as you might have already guessed, The Secret of Anastasia is in fact a rip-off of Anastasia made by Fox Animation. That version was decently received by people, although not at the same level as a Disney movie would have been.
So Swats Productions probably said, yeah, we can make this work. Oh, yeah, we probably need something else to make people buy the shit we're about to make. What to do, Beauty and the Beast, there we go, saved at the last minute.
Yeah, I'm not kidding, the movie actually rips more off of the Beauty and the Beast than it does Anastasia.
Who would have thought? Well, anyway, let's just start the movie.
It starts out innocently enough with the narrator talking down to us like we're some sort of toddlers.
Once upon a time, in this really enormous place called Russia, which was cold a lot, but actually very beautiful.
Come on, how dumb do you think your audience is, man? Well, actually, they did buy this movie, so I would say pretty dumb.
Anyway, the narrator, after mocking us for apparently being dumber than dirt, also tells us of the royal family, which includes Anastasia's parents and her older brother and sister. And of course, the Russian Revolution.
Papa, don't leave me behind. Please, Papa, I beg you, don't leave me behind.
It's too late. Run.
Man, what a father, huh? Are you ready to go to your amusement park, hon? Yeah, Dad, I just need to up, but too late, goodbye.
Well, we then cut to me, I don't know, maybe 12 years later.
You know, we always say that those 2 years later signs are annoying and not really needed. Similar to those in spy movies with names and dates and whatnot. Yeah. But in this movie, it would actually be appreciated.
Well, no matter, we are now seeing our main antagonist, the bad checker and his henchman, goofing off.
Sweet birdie.
Goofing off, where's the girl?
Well, with names like those, they are probably in the right business as Russian secret police. Seriously, what name is Goofinov? Nevertheless, we see Anastasia singing with a bunch of strangers.
Strangers as in we don't know who they are since they are in the dark. Spooky.
While they're doing that, it is revealed that the people she played with is indeed instruments of various kind.
So if you want to figure out what they actually are, good luck with that. I'm not nearly enough invested in this movie to actually care.
So before we can even pause and look anything up, Checker and his goons barges in the palace or wherever they are, and Anastasia have to flee with her friends.
You know what would have been an interesting twist? If the instruments were just a figment of her imagination, since she's been left alone ever since she was a kid, and that has messed her up pretty badly in the head. But it's probably just, oh, an evil wizard spell or some stupid shit like that.
Anyway, they escape through the roof and slides down to safety, and you might have already seen this, but if not, look out for poor animation as well as some really odd facial expressions.
And there is actually also some overly dramatic movements here and there. And I will try my best to remember to show some of them off to you.
We then cut to the next scene. Anastasia and her imaginary instrument friends are on the train headed to Europe, I presume. Here we meet the other main character or side character, whatever it is.
They are all pretty shallow and single-minded, so it's actually hard to tell who the movie is actually about. Well, apart from Anastasia, since this is her secret.
Secret?
This is General Vladimir of the Royal Guard, and he's voiced by one of the people. Apparently nobody knows who voiced what in these movies.
And honestly, I don't even think the actors knew who they voiced either.
Well, it so happens that when we introduce to Vladimir, the instruments becomes non-sentient.
Whoa, I mean, I was only joking with the whole traumatized thing, but honestly, this is rather interesting.
Never mind Anastasia's state of mind, Vladimir thinks she can pass for the long-gone princess, since apparently any heir to the Russian throne can withdraw quite a lot of dough from their bank account in Scandinavia.
And I suppose you're further unaware that £10 million sterling the entire Romanov fortune lie in a bank in Copenhagen.
Oh yeah, Copenhagen, the capital of Norway, Sweden. A lovely place, really, if not a bit too cold.
Well, as all shit happens, the train conductor comes in to check for tickets, which of course neither of them have. For that matter, the general was stuck in a small box when we first met him.
Why? I don't even know. Maybe he played Five Nights at Freddy's 4 and thought in order to crack that code, you have to be one with the box.
They manages to jump the train, and by that I of course mean they cut that away, since that would be too hard to animate apparently. And they are now on their way to Copenhagen.
Hoping for a return of the Romanovs. Ha! They want a princess? We'll give them a princess.
Wait a minute. Did they just walk all the way there? And for that matter, wouldn't he show up the entire way? Man, talk about a trip.
Well, they check in on a hotel, and I'm pretty sure it isn't accurate, but never mind that, we now have the amazing scenery of Copenhagen.
And by that, I mean the interior design of the hotel room. Because that is all you're going to see. You know, when most movies show the protagonist in the outside world for the very first time, they usually show an amazing amount of scenery, such as, I don't know, anything but a fucking boring hotel room. But then again, the only amazing thing you can see in Copenhagen is a very teensy tiny statue at the riverside, and yes, it is very tiny.
Well, not everything is fun and games though. Anastasia also orders food for her instrumental friends.
Ah, this doesn't look weird and or creepy at all. Can you just imagine that she's stuffing the food down the tube and inside the cello? Man, after a while, it's going to stink.
That's right, it stinks!
Well, shortly after everybody's thinking that she's having a major eating disorder of the fattening kind, Vladimir is going to teach her true princess etiquette.
Posture straight, gut in a bit, chest out a bit, now grin a bit.
And this is of course done in boring uninteresting song. Seriously, couldn't they have used a bit of passage, you know, spice it up a tiny bit? This is just two persons singing barely in front of each other.
Well, as boring and annoying as the song now is, it is quickly over and we are at the... well, wherever it is. Apparently, in this universe, Russia controls most of Scandinavia. Why else would they be stationed there? I don't get any of this. Why Copenhagen? Why Scandinavia? Why any of it? Why does it take place in a place so few people even know about? Hell, for that matter, most people doesn't even know what country it is. Well, she's supposedly going to meet someone who can determine whether or not she is the real deal.
Just another desperate attempt to get at the Romanov fortune. We've seen it all before.
Well, that is truly unfortunate. Oh well, what can you do? Better luck. Never, I guess.
But she's not going to let that beat her because the power of overly reacting movement is on her side. That and apparently her amnesia they just barely established a few seconds ago is apparently gone now. And she remembers everything about this little weirdo who is never seen again after this introduction.
Imagine if the Oompa Loompas in Willy Wonka's factory just came in once and said, "Charlie, you are dickface," and then never appeared again.
So now the Prince of...
Honestly, I got no clue. His name is Paul, if that's going to give you any idea of who he is. But there's this one weird thing about him. Yeah, he's obviously the villain Checker. Oh, you don't believe me? Then take a look at his henchman.
Where is my royal assistant Goofinov? Is Goofinov goofing off again?
Yeah, that is indeed the bad Checker disguised as Prince of Whateverville.
Well, moving on, since she passed as Prince Anastasia, Paul here takes her on a romantic trip through Copenhagen.
And no, this time they're not just in the hotel's bedroom, at least not in the children's version of the movie. They are in fact going to the zoo.
Where we see our comedic relief Goofinov. Yeah, with that name, I believe that was the point for him being here. He is of course grabbed by the gorilla.
Monkey!
And this is in fact the only funny thing he does in the entire movie. Great! Fantastic! Moving on!
After that beautiful night, day, whatever at the zoo, Anastasia and Vladimir is having the so overly used argument cliché.
Meaning that they are in fact going to be married at the end of the movie. Great! Fantastic! Moving on.
Well, she is now supposed to meet with the Empress to clarify whether or not she is indeed the princess.
So Paul the Prince just likes to pick up imitations and have some fun with them for whatever reason. Royalty is rather weird.
Well, as expected, the Empress, who would be her grandmother, doesn't believe her in the slightest since, well, apparently hundreds of young women have tried this before her.
Forgive me, Grandmama.
How dare you address me like that?
Honestly, I would be more surprised if she just caved in and said, yeah, you are my grandchild.
Well, through the power of insanely large movement, she finally convinces the Empress. Actually, I think it was the song, but those movements are not just large, they also repeat. Oh yeah, they repeat. So after the Empress recognizes her, she is invited to dinner by Prince Paul, who then double-crosses them, and she is kidnapped.
We want the girl.
Paul?
Don't resist, Anastasia. Occupational hazard.
Because I don't actually know, it's kind of blurry. I mean, if he just wanted to kill her, he wouldn't tie her up to a chair. But if he wanted to marry her to get the money, why kidnap her? He was already well on his way with that one.
Furthermore, he was actually engaged with her since she was 2, but never mind. Vladimir comes in to search for her, but all he finds are the living instruments.
You're a harp. Not you. I'll call you back. Harps can't talk.
Oh, so they are indeed real. Or maybe Vladimir's nuts too? Well, we are probably never going to figure out what the hell this actually means. It's not like they're going to explain this at the very last moment or anything like that.
Well, as you would have guessed, Vladimir doesn't quite get this, nor does he want to admit it that there is in fact living instruments among them.
It's the shock of losing £2 million. I'm hallucinating.
But they quickly make him accept this, as they are going to save Anastasia.
Get them!
Wow, I think the Teletubbies had more engaging fight scenes than this one does. That and a freaking creepy son. Ugh, so creepy.
Well, they manages to save Anastasia, but both Cheka and Vladimir falls into the very small river and they apparently drown.
Don't go, Vladimir. Don't go.
Well, that sucks. Honestly, I couldn't give a horse's ass about this, because we all know that through the power of magical dolphin tears that he's going to be resurrected.
I'm going to lose him. And with him, my heart.
You love him that much?
I love him more than my own life.
Then we can save him.
Or through the power of love, since that's also close, I presume.
And it turns out the instruments was the slaughtered family who now have to go to the other side.
I got friends on the other side.
Since apparently telling others who you really are is against the rules, or it is the rules, or something like that.
Why didn't you tell me before? If we did, we'd have to go onwards. That's the rule.
So through the power of love, straight out of Captain Planet apparently, Vladimir is saved and the movie ends.
Thank goodness for that!
So the movie. Well, it's strange. Really strange. The animation is lousy, so lousy that the other movies looks like freaking masterpieces. But on the other hand, the art is decent, better than the other movies. The voice actors, well, nothing special there. I still believe that Frollo is the best actor they had. The overall story is just dull. But that is still more than what you can say about the other movies they created. It's actually odd. It feels like they had a slightly better budget in some areas and a worse one in others. Surely if you're going to show any of these movies to kids, I bet this would be the best one. It is nothing special by any means, and it could have used quite some work to be better. I mean, most of the time only one person moves, seriously, that is straight out anime. Although anime usually have way better art styles and way less time to make it, so at least they have an excuse to not animate too much. Plus everything is hand-drawn in those, so those actually pretty damn good. The songs, honestly, whichever movie you pick, they are all bad from this company. In fairness, if you mix them up and replace the songs in their other movies, I don't think you would notice. They are bland and rather similar. Also, in terms of how and when they use them, about 3 minutes in, one song from the protagonist. Then one of the other characters get a song, and then finally the villain song. And occasionally, the end song. And as always, with these movies, good luck figuring out who voiced what. It's like nobody cares, and that is probably the case.
So that was the secret of Anastasia. The secret being that they rip off more from Beauty and the Beast. I'm the Angrynator, terminating bad movies for your entertainment.